I'll go through the presentation, okay? You guys. I will do a quick presentation, a bit just to give you guys some information, and then we go through the Claude code, and just to give you some context on about the whole sales stuff. Okay, can you see my screen, guys?
Yes.
Look, I've been working on the sales stack and GTM for about over a year now. Around January last year, I heavily started doing a lot of sales and marketing. And now I'm also focusing on sales engine with Cloud. And I'm going to discuss that through that, and you know why this is powerful right now. So just a bit information about me. Just I have 20 years experience in the tech industry, and over 10 years building AI and cloud and big data projects at eBay, The Trade Desk, which is a programmatic advertising. And I also had MBAs 2 years ago. I started AI Point, where I help businesses implementing AI and big data projects, and also AWS Cloud. Then because I had some referrals through the space, like from my colleagues in eBay and the traders, I moved to marketing and sales projects, and then it becomes something that I niche down completely this year, because I have a lot of connection around that, and I have some project that I've done, and it's very related to what I have done in the past 10 years. And I found outbound and outreach is very similar to advertising. Just the way that you basically broadcast is different. You're knocking on a door instead of putting on a banner or showing on a TV or on a website, etc. So a lot of the audience segmentation, etc., is pretty much similar between advertising and outbound. So what we do at AI Point, we help businesses with AI outbound, which is primarily around email infrastructure, list building with a focus on prospecting, finding through different data sources, data enrichment, lead qualification, and personalization copywriting. Once you've done that, we set up a campaign strategy based on what our customer wants. Then we do a reply, monitor the replies, and if there is a positive reply, we forward it to our client. If it's negative, etc., so we handle everything through that, and we optimize the also campaign as we go, and it's moving and progressing in the process. But what does outbound look like at the moment in 2026? Because outbound used to be primary, you're getting a lot of data from different data sources like Sales Navigator or Apollo, etc. And then just based on that data that you fetched, you start doing the enrichment and then sending the message. In sending the messages, I have done that earlier last year. Actually, I've done that way with outreach, like a more traditional outreach. But the game has changed. So now you can look at website visitors, social media content engagement, competitors' content engagement, or even feedback and review that is published across the web. So we scrape prospects through different data sources and different aspects, and then we qualify them again through the workflow and enrich, then send it through the multi-channel outreach. And if it's landing as a lead, then we sync it to the CRM. So as you can see here, a sales stack is combination of like 5 different pillar: data source, enrichment, outreach, workflow automation, and CRM. If you go to this URL, tools.aipoint.io, tools, AI-tools, you will see lots of different tools that we listed for each category.
And those are all of your favorite tools? Your
Yes,
preferred
I think
tech
it
stack there?
doesn't have the latest. It has a lot of them. But I think we haven't updated recently. So I think it's about a month ago. It's just we keep finding new tools and we add them to our stack or remove them because of the pricing or the in easier way to access data, etc. So it keeps changing. I think it's about we the last update is for January. So probably I will update it in by end of the week, maybe, hopefully.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. So, but the main things we do is the orchestration layer. And what it means is that the way that we use Claude skill and AI agents um, for whole this outreach process, right? Because as I said in a few a slide ago, so I think it was like here is the email infrastructure is part of what we do in the outbound. Why it is important? Because it's important the email land in the inbox, not in a spam folder. Because you want to be seen by the people that you reach out to them, right? That's the part that we cover here is email infrastructure. We look after that really well with all the configuration that we apply to make sure that actually and guarantee that actually the email gonna land in their inbox. And we have signals to detect that it's actually working well or not. Okay. And we constantly monitor that and we run warm up for all the inboxes. We apply all the configuration across the domain and the email, etc. But from the part that's for email, but from the part that actually we do the whole outbound, it's prospecting. So you either have the leads here, maybe I'll just zoom it a bit. You have the leads here, or you extract it from different data sources, or you get it from Sales Navigator, right? Then we get those and then we find the emails, phone numbers if you want to do the phone call, etc. We find we enrich the data based on that. So we use different data sources like you can use Clay, Apollo again, and Prospo, Lead Magic. But if you want to go with the lower pricing, Prospo is really good. You can use also Lead Magic as well. Especially if you want to go with email only, you can rely only on Prospo. Okay. And for a phone number, maybe Lucia, it's a good option for I think US and Canada specifically. I think for Australia, Firmable, it's a good option. Do we have anyone from Australia? Yeah. No?
Yeah, I'm from Australia.
Okay, cool. Then once we done the data, we find the data sources, sorry, the data like emails, phone number, etc. Then that's the time that we do qualification. Then that qualification that I'm going to show you in a bit, we use a mix of depends on what we want to do in terms of the qualification. Okay, some of them we do it through the Clay agent, which is an AI agent built in within a spreadsheet in Clay, sitting in Clay, and another one is the Claude skills that we have, and then we use Claude Code for that. We run a qualification. And then during both process, we do data application and data cleaning. So I'll remove anything duplicated, anything that is invalid, anything that is not right. So we can clean all of that. And then the next step, once we have the right data, we do personalization. We write a right copy for all these basically um, outreach, whether it's an email or LinkedIn, or even if you want to write a script for your SDR that basically read through that script to when they do a cold call, you can do that through that. So the personalization is the point that actually the person personalize the message in a way that it's relevant to that prospect. So the way that we work is that every person, every prospect within the process receive a specific message that related to their business and the service offering that we want to pitch to them. So that's why the personalization matter. The personalization is not only help the prospect to engage, but also help to prevent landing in a spam folder or getting banned by LinkedIn algorithm. The reason is that both LinkedIn algorithm and all email providers like Google and Microsoft, if they see a pattern that is a lot of generic messaging keep sending to people during working days, during a specific time period, so they gonna detect that, okay, this is a spam or something like that. And then because of that, they can filter your account as a spam. And although email land in the spam, your account gets downgraded on LinkedIn or even blocked and so on. And then once we have all this data ready, then we can do the outreach to instantly and hey reach. And then once we get a positive reply, we sync them to the CRM. If you look at here, for data that we get it again based on what I mentioned earlier. We get it from website visitors. You can use different tools for website visitors. One of the very popular one is RB2B, that you can capture who is actually visiting your website and you be able to get their profile on LinkedIn and you actually target them through the outreach. And another one is a LinkedIn engagement. You can target anyone that actually engage with your post or someone else post that you want to actually do outreach. Whether it's a like or a comment, we can target them, or even they attend a specific event or like competitor engagement. So they engage with your competitors post, etc. So we can target all of them and we count them as a buying intent signals. Because if you target people that they are in the market and actively interested about something, they are most likely to reply you when you outreach to them, right? Because it's more relevant to them at that time frame. So what we do, a lot of this, we do again through the Claude skills. I'm going to show you that one as well. I used to do a lot API for social media scraping, but we could do some of that now with Claude skill. Not all of them. For example, like for Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, still you need to use API and N8N workflow. But for a lot of news, anything that doesn't need any website that doesn't need a login, we can do a lot of that through the Claude scale and Claude code, basically. Okay. Is everyone good with that?
Yes. And I actually didn't know that about the last step that you spoke about on the outreach infrastructure, where the personalization actually prevents emails from landing and getting flagged as spam or things like that. I didn't know that. So that's great info. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, let me go to Claude. Okay, one thing is that look, we have over 50 skills in Claude. And maybe I'll go step by step. Okay, here is my Claude. And let me see, there is a pen, it's a zoom pen. Okay. Then you go to setting. And then once you go to your setting, you can go to capability. And in the capability, now they moved it. It used to be listed on the skills section in the capabilities. Now you need to go to customize. So that's where you see all these skill. Okay. I actually have a guide on how to how to work with Claude skill on our blog. Let me see if I can share that here. And here is also the tools that I was mentioning. And okay, so here is the skill I was mentioning. So there are so many different skills that we have for different purposes, for cold outreach, for a strategy for like LinkedIn content strategy. I built it. This is just primary based on the history of like last 100 posts that I posted on LinkedIn, and some of them went viral with 100K impression, or some of them they didn't perform well, etc. So I put everything there and personalize that, right? So how I did that, maybe I'll show you a step by step first, like how to build a skill in the cloud. Or are you guys good with that? Maybe just that's a better question, because I think you are interested more about cloud code.
I'm fine with the skills.
Okay, so so you have your skill, and for example, I have a skill for personalization. Okay, this is only this is in the cloud AI space. Then we have Cloud Console, which is you use it for API. For example, if you want to use the Cloud skill through the API, you need to upload them separately in the console, like platform.cloud.com. Okay, may I just put that in the chat as well. So you need to put that here because unfortunately they're not sync. So Claude doesn't sync them. So if you only put it in your own Claude, and if you want to use API within Clay or any other tools, it won't work. And the Claude, for the Claude code, you also need that in the platform. So here is my Claude code. I use that in VS Code. Are you
Sorry
guys
to interrupt you,
familiar with?
Ima.
Sorry?
Sorry to interrupt you. I just have a quick question about
Sure.
the skills and the API. So again, I apologize. I'm not very technical.
No, no problem.
So I just want to make sure that I understand. So you've created that skill, which I actually created my first skill in Claude today. So it's very fresh in my memory. But this section here in the console, what we're trying to do is allow, let's say you mentioned maybe bringing the skill into Clay or Clayagent. Does that mean that Clayagent is pulling in the skill that you've created to use for itself, and it's doing that through the API?
Yes, because
Okay.
I will show you like in Clay. Look, I have this Clayagent that I created here, that I connected with the API, Anthropic, and I connected with my API key. So I use the skill that I have,
Okay.
right? So then it
Yeah.
behind the scene, it's using that skill for creating the content for me, right? That's
Okay.
one of the way I use. That's the old way of I was doing that. Now I'm using Cloud Code primarily, or at
Okay.
least as long as it doesn't break.
Yeah, and I guess we're going to get into that next. Perfect. Thank
Yes,
you.
the reason is that Cloud API is a bit more expensive in compared to Cloud Code, because Cloud Code works with a subscription. You pay $30 and 20,
Mhm.
$30 or something, and that's it. And it has a specific token, and when the token is out, it's you finish the token for a couple of hours. So then it tell you, it's gonna you have more token in, I don't know, 8 p.m. or something, right? And you know
Yeah.
that you need to wait for a certain time, so then you have more token again to start. But API is a pay as you go, and you constantly keep charging the icon and it keeps consuming. When you go and like enriching data for example, 4,000, the other day I was doing 7,000 record for that volume, API is very expensive.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
understand.
That's why it's best to use Claude Code when it's a high volume because it's cheaper. You need to have a break in between because it ran out of token, but that's okay. At least it doesn't charge you extra. So that's why primary I use it. I use Claude Code unless something that Claude Code doesn't cover, which I'm going to show you guys as well.
Okay.
So are we good up to here? Okay, seems that everyone is
Yeah.
good. And then I'll go where I was. Okay, I have this skill. So you know that you can add the skill here by clicking the add skill and add
Hmm.
your file, and basically that skill is added to the directory here. Then I have Cloud Code. You can have your Cloud Code in actually you can install Cloud Cowork, which is a Cloud Cowork is basically the Cloud Code, but it's a desktop version. Okay. So if you see that people say I have Cowork, it's pretty much the same things, but it's in desktop version. And you can just command it. It does a few maybe things more. But personally, I don't know, because I have a technical background, I use it on the VS Code. I initially started using that here, and I'm happy with what I have here at the moment because I can see all the directory here, and it's easier for me to trace what's working and what doesn't work. I prepared a small list of prospects, for example, like insurance companies, um, 10 insurance company within Australia that I want to see if they are actually a qualified prospect for me. Okay. I did the list in Clay and download the CSV file here. You can do it in Prospo, you can do it in Sales Navigator, you can do it anywhere else, and it doesn't matter. And the reason is that it's better to give a list to Cloud Code for a better um, outcome instead of asking Cloud Code to find it for you. Or at least I don't rely on what uh, I haven't relied on that, to be honest, that to do the whole prospecting by Cloud Code because you want to do a lot of filtering around the revenue size, the company size, whether it's a private or public company, and so many different factors. That is best to do it through a reliable data source like OceanEye or Apollo and so on, rather than doing it straight away through Cloud Code. So you want to make sure that your list is actually correct, and then you put it in the Cloud Code and you run that qualification, etc., and then see that if it's working well and correctly for you. So here I'm going to show you here what I use. Can you tell me if the companies in the list are actually B2B businesses? Just simply, I have this directory, right? So, and you need to put the full directory here. Then we do the qualification in here as well. So now it accesses the directory because I put this one, but maybe these insurance company are not actually a B2B. So now it show me because being a B2B business is important for me because I only work with B2B businesses. Oh, sorry, what was the... So I'm now want to see based on the skills I have about my offering, business offering, are my qualified prospect or not? So in that skill, I build the skill. So what you need to do with Cloud Code, you need to first build the skill about the business. Sorry. Oh, why? Doesn't have it. Let me see. I used to have. Um, let me in different space aspects. So on the chat, and then also on the API in Clay, and then here in the Cloud Code, there's so many ways to use them. So now it's writing the personalization. The personalization hook is based on what it works for us over time. So that copy, it's writing the email copy that is aligned with each prospect's profile, and then it's aligned with, oh, okay, I'll put it in the sheet. Actually, I think I didn't mention that to put it in the sheet. And that's pretty much it. Actually, how I do the personalization for with Cloud Code. You can. I'm working on this to building the whole things with that. Again, we still need to do the first part of the prospect listing to the different data sources. But also, I'm going to show you another one that as a signals. An example that we used different signals for the detecting that they are qualified or not. I think in this example, I didn't show it here, but let me think about which campaign was. It was for my client or for ourselves. But there is also a campaign that we did for signal, buying signal, where it did a heavy web scraping to find out which one is actually qualified. That's the part that it takes time to get everything done. Do you guys thinking to implement this for your outbound systems? What would be the usage of this for you guys? If you can, yeah, share
Actually,
about your
I
use
still need
cases,
to
that would be good.
yeah, I still need to understand my outbound strategy, what tools to use, but because there's so many, it's very hard to understand where to start. So that's where I'm at the moment.
Oh, you where to start?
Sorry?
You're wondering where to start?
No, I need to start my outbound, and I still need to understand which tool I'm gonna use. So I'm considering all the possibility.
Yeah. Depends on the budget. Like for a starting point, Sales Navigator plus Prospo is really good. Because you can get the leads through Sales Navigator, then through the Prospo, or you can even find it through the Prospo as well. But then you can do an email enrichment through Prospo.
I know the, what's the name again? Prespo. I don't
Prospo.
know it.
Prospo. Okay, I'll show you. Yeah.
Yes, I don't know it. Thanks.
This one.
Okay.
So here is basically how you can work with that. You can also do the prospecting here. I prefer Clay because I have a wide range of client that I'm working with. For example, one of them is a consulting business, another one is a affiliate management business and different things. Another one is an education business. So because of that, it's different. But for you, because you want to do for your own business, you can do it on a specific tools like Perspo or Apollo. They have a better pricing in compared to Clay. Clay is 3 times higher pricing in compared to these ones. And it also consumes a lot of credit if you want to go with them. But yeah, you can use that. Okay, let's go back here. As you can see here, it provides all the copy. If I open that again, so it has only for our prospecting, we do multiple basically copy from subject, body, and not this is only we do multiple sequence, and that depends on the strategy that we go ahead with our client. Depends on every client's campaign is different, but we do multiple of this, not only one, but basically this can create that for you and do the personalization. For example, like this one, I would tweak it more to make it more interesting and engaging in terms of like to attract the client. But for example, as you can see here, the subject is changing for each prospect, right? And then also the context, and the context is changing. As you can see here, it used this as a web scraping when it started understanding about that business, and it learned that that business had a recent acquisition. Okay, and it's using that in the copy. So then once the prospect receive that, they can relate to this messaging and say, oh, okay, they know something about me. And they respond to the basically outreach. So doing the outreach the right way is really important. And that Cloud Code at the moment, it makes it pretty easy. We also have businesses like I have some of the solo founders as well, that to help them to teach them how to set up everything themselves. If you want to consider that, Ivan, I'm happy also to have a conversation around that as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it about Cloud Code and how we do outreach. So, okay, another example I'll show you guys if you are still on the call. Here is the one is that for one of our clients. They are a affiliate management platform. They came with the list themselves. So they had a big list of prospects, 7,000 prospects. If I go here, we did a massive analysis and web scraping on their data. Not this one, sorry. Here, okay, this one. As you can see here, it does a lot of web search. So it scrape a lot of data based on the what we skills we have and what we prompt the Claude. So it did a lot of scraping for us to qualify. For example, out of those 4,000, for example, in one of the segmentation, so it only found 1,700. So we don't normally take the spray and pray approach. So we make sure that they are qualified in the right bracket that we are looking for to do the outreach. Otherwise, it's just gonna be spamming everyone, right? And not getting the right results. So that's why the qualification is really important. And buying signal and scraping and learning about that business is important. We used to do that a lot with NHN workflows and different AP5 workflow and things like that. And there were so many things happened in the past, but now with Cloud Code, it becomes just a few tweak and comment and messaging and Cloud skills to make this works for us. Then we did that, but what was missing from their data was the personalization and also LinkedIn URL. So we got the URL from Let me see. We got the URL from Claude Code, but the Claude Code gave us the search URL. Actually, let me see. I think this. Okay, they gave us the search URL. Sorry, it was this list. So in this list, we had only the search URL. So we used a Cal agent, and that is again an AI agent within a spreadsheet. And as you can see that here, it's connected to Claude, and it does, come on, and it does the web search. It does the web search to find the, oh, come on. Sorry, it's a bit slow right now. I don't know why.
No problem.
It does a web search. ClayGen does a web search using the Claude API I have. And what it does, we have a specific prompt for that. So it does the lookup for all the first name, last name, company, etc. And it find the actual LinkedIn profile of that person. And then we have that, then we can use that in the LinkedIn outreach to connect with that person and send them the message. These are the different way that we use Claude and Claude API and yeah, and then Claude Scales and Claude Code. So many Claude. So that's it. Any question?
Wow. Well, thank you. You mentioned me a couple minutes ago. Like that, I really consider talking with you in the near future about this because the less number of tools that I use, the better. So I would love to get the most that I can out of Claude. And kind of like Danny, I'm still figuring out who my like I'm still trying to find a niche. I'm trying to specialize in something. Right now, I'm just kind of being a generalist. So
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot of research now. I'm doing a lot of interviews to try to find that specialization. And once I do that, I know that outreach is going to be so important. I come from a background of 7 years in tech sales. So doing outreach and outbound is nothing new to me. That part I'd be comfortable doing, but I've never used any type of scraping tools or anything like that. I've always written my own emails for the past
Yeah.
7 years. So doing something like this would be incredible once I do have a better idea of what my ICP is going to be. But I intend on doing that as soon as possible. And then from there, maybe we can have a deeper talk because like I said 2 or 3 times already, I'm not technical at all. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna need some guidance there.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna run some workshop for some guys. They are consultant, different things like the financial space, and they want to do the outbound themselves. So I'm gonna run a workshop for them end of this month, like in 4 weeks time, multiple session. So yeah, I can help something like that so they can what they want to do that is they want to learn to build their own sales pipeline instead of relying on anyone,
Yeah.
etc. So yes, that's something that could be one of the options that we can discuss on that if you're interested. How about you, Danny? What's your business exactly? Or you're also in the AI space?
Yeah, I am as well. Uh, I'm kind of like a consultant. I'm quite technical, so I work for a couple of companies, and I do automation basically or training. That's what I do at the moment. And yeah, I need to start the outreach as soon as possible. So I was really curious to what you're doing, and
Yeah.
well done with the presentation.
Yeah, the main problem of the outreach is that's just so many tools.
That's
Just
too
so
much.
many.
That's too much. That's the issue. You show up this Prospero, then there is Clay, there is instantly. More or less they do the same at the very end, and then plus you use Cloud to enrich your data. But they can do that as well. But I believe if you use like Clay to do everything, you have to give them the pro account, whatever it's called, the maximum account. You
Yeah.
have to give them a lot of money. Your way
Yeah.
is a bit smarter, I believe.
Yeah, the problem is that is
But
some of the tools like Clay is expensive. And also because if you want to constantly using that, the pricing, you need to justify the pricing. But some of the tools I use, some of the data sources are not reliable. For example, one of my email actually burned because the data we got from through enrichment through one of the data sources actually was all turns out that they weren't. It shows that like verified, but it wasn't good, so it bounced allowed, and one of our actually emails banned. So you need to be cautious of all these things so that you use the right data source for your data. And that's why I don't do the full enrichment through Cloud Code, because still the email that it finds, the LinkedIn profile that it finds is not available. Yeah, it's not completely reliable.
cool.
Yep.
And quick question: how's your LinkedIn strategy going? I see you post a lot. Is it going well for you, that strategy? Can
Yeah,
you
I get
can you
primary a lot of my leads through
invest something?
LinkedIn. People
Okay.
may not necessarily like my post, but they message me and book appointment with me. It's
Very
actually
nice.
quite often it's like that. So people that they don't engage, actually they engage with me through the chat.
Okay,
But I'm
good
doing
to
it
know.
for about 18 months now, constantly posting on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I see you post a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I post every day, every 5 days a week. So yeah.
Well,
It's
yeah.
so
You, you
hard.
got
It's
you
so
got
hard.
an automation for that, right?
Um, the thing is that in the first 6 months is very hard. Then it becomes normal, and then you learn that what is actually working and what doesn't work. And also I use a lot of optimization, like get a lot of AI to say that how I'm performing. Yeah, so then also I do a mix of it. Now I do sales, but prior to that I was doing a lot of AI and big data and security aspects, so that is related to my past experience. So just creating so many content is just not that hard, to be honest. And also I have courses and webinars and YouTube videos. So just getting a sneaky peek of everything, putting on LinkedIn. No, it's not that hard always. Sometimes it is, sometimes not.
Good job.
Yeah. Okay, I have to go now. And thank you for joining the webinar. And thank you so much.
Thanks a
I
lot.
hope you learned something out of this today's session. All right.
Yes, thank you so much, Ima.
Thank you. And reach out to me
Oh,
if you need any
Thank
help
you.
with anything.
that sounds good. And Ima, last thing, um, Iran Azadi.
Yes, thank you.
Right.
Thanks. Bye.
Take care. Thank you so much. Bye.